She emailed me distraught, right? She had used to be good at presenting, she said, but now she lost all her confidence. She wanted help. Why does academia do that to so many people? It makes us feel inadequate even while we're doing cutting-edge research. But this was even worse. She had failed her comprehensive exam. The future of her PhD was now in jeopardy. If she failed it again, she'd be out. So we set up a time to work on it. And I want to share some of the things we did here. Because if you're struggling presenting your research, these things might help you too. Turns out when we finally set up a time, had a chance to talk, it turns out that the knowledge part of what she'd done for her comprehensive, that wasn't what she was struggling with. She had no problem presenting and defending that part. It was her proposal. It was what she wanted to do. That was the part she was being asked to do again. And the reason she didn't have any trouble with the knowledge part was because, well, that's what we all have practice doing, right? That's what, up until while you were an undergrad or while you were doing your master's, you presented all the time other people's ideas. We're used to presenting other people's ideas. We're used to doing oral presentation as test. But her work, the proposal for her work, that's different. That's a different space. So I asked her to tell me about it. I said, just tell me about your research. She started. She talked and talked and talked. After 30 minutes, I said, you have to stop. I said, enough. We can't keep going. She's like, but I'm only halfway there. I said, yeah, but we're 30 minutes in. We're 30 minutes in. And she had been going in circles and talking and explaining and re-explaining and giving another angle and talking about something else that she was going to do. And that's the problem, right? She knew too much. She had too much detail. And she hadn't figured out what I call the simplicity beyond the complexity. That's what we need. We need to find the simplicity beyond the complexity. And that's actually what she needed to do. So we went to work. We figured that out. We got it so that she could explain her research. She could explain her research proposal in less than 5 minutes without a lot of overwhelming technical words. Now, she had 20 to actually redo this part of her comprehensive exam, which wasn't really her comprehensive exam. Really, it was a research proposal. She had 20 minutes to build out and talk about it. And now that she could do it in 5 minutes, she aced it. No problem. She had no problem. You see, her presenting problem, she had lost her confidence presenting, but that presenting problem wasn't actually a presenting problem. It was a knowledge problem. She was really good at summing up, at reflecting, at talking about what other people did, because that's the thing all of us have so much practice doing in school, right? We're really good at the test part. And she had done a good job. She had passed the test part when it was someone else's information. But then when she had to explain what she thought, and she had to make a decision, and she had to find the simplicity beyond the complexity, that was where she struggled. You see, we're so caught up in the complexity. We know all the details. It's a different exercise to find the simplicity behind the complexity. It's a different exercise to figure out how to talk about this cleanly, simply, in an accessible way. And we need to learn how to do that first. And when you learn how to do that, your presentation becomes much easier. 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, no problem, right? As long as you have 5-minute core to scaffold that complexity onto. So this was great, right? And then I got a call. I got another email 12 months later. It was actually probably 18 months later. She said, I'm doing my dissertation defense. I'm scared. Help. Right? I'm nervous. Help. So we started again. And It was a different problem this time. We started with the same process. She needed to figure out a 5-minute summary of her dissertation, a 5-minute core, and then build out some examples instead of trying to do everything, because everything takes hours, not 20 minutes. In most dissertation defenses, you're only given 20 minutes. But that was only part of the problem. It was only the first part of the problem. The second part of the problem was that she kept meeting with her advisor and her supervisor, and her supervisor kept telling her how her supervisor wanted her to do it and what her supervisor wanted her to say. It wasn't what she felt. It wasn't what she wanted. And her supervisor literally was getting in the way of her own growth. This is your work. When you get to your dissertation defense, this is your work. This is your defense. This is your style. This is your voice. This isn't your supervisor's presentation anymore. This is your presentation. You need to give yourself permission to realize that your supervisor is no longer in charge. You are. Your supervisor's no longer in charge. You are. And as soon as we did that, as soon as she made that mindset shift of, oh yeah, this is my presentation. This isn't my supervisor's presentation. This is my presentation. I can do this the way I want. This is me being ready to fly, right? I'm watching an eagle cam right now, right? There's a little bird in the nest and it's not ready to fly yet. But at some point, the mom's going to push that bird out of the nest and that bird's going to fly. Your supervisor should be pushing you. Your supervisor should be pushing you. Sometimes some PhD candidates need to have an extra push from their supervisor, but sometimes the supervisor is not actually giving them the push, but instead the supervisor is holding them back. The supervisor still wants them to do it their way. And that's what was actually going on here. That's what was screwing this person up. That's why they had lost their ability to present, because they weren't being allowed to do it the way they knew they wanted to, the way they would be excited to do it. They were being forced to do it with someone else's voice and someone else's style. Don't do that. Don't do that. At some point, you need to be the presenter that you are. You need to present with your style. You need to present in your way, not the way someone else thinks you should. And when you make that transition, everything gets easier. As soon as you make that transition, as soon as you're ready to fly on your own, right? And whether you need a push or whether you need to jump even though someone doesn't want you to, you need to make that shift. And when you do that, great things happen. Do that, great things happen. Sometimes we can't quite identify what's going on, which is what was happening for the woman that I was working with. She knew that she was a better presenter. She knew that fundamentally she had more confidence in herself than she was feeling at this particular moment in time. And she needed some help getting there, right? Which is why I do coaching with people, which is why I have a presentation course. If you want to look at it, it's in the link below and you can access it. Or it may just be that this conversation is enough. This conversation creates those aha moments for you right now. And you're released and you're on your way. And that would be fantastic. I would love for that. That's the purpose of these videos, right? Is to help people go to another level, to help people succeed. So if that's happening for you right now, fantastic. And if it's not, and if you feel like you want to have a conversation or you feel like you need more help with this, then reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be me, but reach out to someone and have this kind of conversation with them. Figure out what's going on. Figure out what's preventing you from having the confidence that you know you should, that you know you deserve, that you wish you had. Because you can do this. You can do this. You can find your voice. You can present in ways that are confident. You can present in ways that are you. And that's what I hope for you.